Our reporters are all over this story. Monique Motlock is in the mother city, Ronald Masinda is in Butterworth, and Mobile Madlala is in Johannesburg. Monique, let's start with you. Traffic must be a nightmare this hour, especially with flooding.
Yes, Shahan, it definitely is. Where I am at the moment in Lower Main Road in Salt River, traffic has cleared up a little bit, but just a few minutes ago it was completely packed as cars were making their way in and out of the city. We've heard of areas like Chapman's Peak where traffic is gridlocked, and we've also seen on the N2 and on the N1 heavier than normal traffic, and in some areas like in Bonteheuwel where we were earlier today, the roads are flooded, which is also causing traffic congestions in those areas. And yes, it's a bit of a grey Friday for Cape Townians and not a great way to start the weekend.
So, Ronald, of course, it's a big contradiction because you're in a city without water.
Yes, indeed, Sean. Well, taps have been dry here since August. One resident told us earlier that the situation is so bad, Sean, that the last time that they saw rain was back in June. I'm going to quickly step out of shot so that my colleague Asanda can just give you a better picture of the situation here. We are at the Gua Dam, and believe it or not, Sean, as much as we are seeing a bit of water, this has been a vast improvement, according to one resident. From the far right, Shahan, there we're seeing kids. They were bathing themselves just a short while ago, and one guy is also trying to make a business out of the water that is left here from this dam by having a car wash business. But that is the best as you can get, Shahan, because this water has also been used for drinking purposes. That is how dire the situation has been. People are forced to boil this water so that it can be purified, so that they can try and drink it. Situation has gotten so bad, Shahan, that also farmers are struggling. A lot of livestock is either dead or really looking very unhealthy, Shahan. So that is the situation here in Butterworth. We also spoke to some residents saying that women are the most affected because without water, when women are going through menstruation, they tend to struggle without water. So that is the situation on the ground here.
We are busy drilling 30 boreholes, and there is only 7 boreholes that is already drilled. Out of the 7, the 2 identified area we are calling is a golf club is up and running. And we do have 3 drilling trucks who are busy in drilling in the whole Butterworth area. And that the 2 boreholes that have been identified in a golf club are the ones that we are catching or we are cutting water from to the areas that are not having waters. Like, for example, your Cuba, Vulvale, and Kubagas in the area of Butterworth.
Ronald, of course, we're hearing from the acting mayor there, but people still protesting. They're not happy. Tell us exactly what about.
Well, having spoken to the acting mayor earlier on, the mayor of Amatole, he basically said that plans are afoot to have some relief to this area. But people are not buying it, Shahan. They're actually blaming the municipality for the misuse of funds. They're saying that this is not the first time that they're actually experiencing a drought here in this area. They've gone on to block the N2 at one stage, which leads from East London to Umtata, saying that they've had enough of the situation because they've been suffering. They are tired of empty promises. Having also spoken to the mayor, he says it will cost in the region of at least R1 billion to have a proper plan in place to restore some relief to struggling people. We've also been told, Shahan, that at least 1 tap is allocated to about 600 people living in such areas. So it just paints a picture of the dire situation that people are experiencing here in Butterworth and many other parts of the Eastern Cape.
So let's go now to Nqobile Madlala in Johannesburg, and this is surprising. We heard earlier that some dams were at 50%, but Johannesburg residents facing water cuts this weekend. Tell us why.
Yep, that's right, Shahan. From where we are standing, Rand Water has just confirmed that we are on stage 2, meaning that the water that you normally receive, which was 100%, only 60% of that will be sent out to residents. Now, we do understand that this is attributed to the fact that there is a heat wave currently in Gauteng, and people are seen to be using more and more water. But we do understand that from Joburg Water that more people who will be affected are mostly people that are in high-lying areas. We do understand, though, that they are now deciding that the water is bypassed from the reservoirs because there's not enough pressure to push this water into the different areas that needs to go to, so therefore the reservoirs are bypassed. But now we do understand that as a citizen, you might just be opening a tap and find yourself with little drops, and that's because there's not enough pressure, and at some point might just be dry.
Yeah, we're going to come back to you in a moment. Monique, let's come back to you. Disaster management must be on high alert. What impact has this rain had on residents, especially those in informal settlements?
Yes, Shahan, disaster risk management teams from the city of Cape Town are definitely on high alert. They've been on standby since last night when the cold front started moving in and the rain started bucketing down. Informal settlements in Khayelitsha, Mfuleni and Lwandle, there have been reports of flooding in those areas. We've also, as I mentioned before, seen roads in areas like Bonteheuwel being flooded. So there are also officials out in those areas trying to clear those drains. There have also been storm-related power outages in several areas, including Plumstead, Wynberg, Wetton, Greenpoint, Gugulethu and Kalk Bay. So a mix of areas from low to middle income areas and also townships. Everyone seems to have been affected by this cold front.
Nqobile, so what contingency plans are in place to get water to Joburg residents this weekend when it is shut off?
Well, from what we understand, Shahan, Joburg Water has confirmed to us that they do have water trucks that are on standby. They said to us they have placed them strategically for some areas that they believe that will be mostly affected. But at this very moment, anyone who would be experiencing that there's the water shortage must call in to the call line so that they can be able to send in the trucks. But also they did say that one problem is that sometimes these trucks will have to drive a long distance to go get water for the residents, so people must just be also patient with them.
All right, let's go to Ronald Masinda one last time. And Ronald, the question I have for you is one of officials doing enough work and asking national government to assist, like we saw in Cape Town.
Yes, well, that seems to be part of the plan, Shahan, because when I spoke to the mayor of Amatole earlier on, he basically said that plans are still afoot with the government trying to assist and provide aid for this struggling area. He said that he has been in talks with the Department of Water and Sanitation, and they are hoping to get some sort of funding to assist with the current situation. But people here are also painting a different picture. The residents basically saying that, you know, for a while, a lot of people or in government here have not been held into account. A lot of money has been prioritized to things that they've never seen. And so the water issue could have been resolved a while ago. We're also hearing reports, Shahan, that even though there's a water crisis, some people have actually, in government, have access to water, and they're selling that water for quite a high price. So those are some of the issues people here are grappling with, and certainly one of the issues that I'm sure will happen for quite some time, as there doesn't seem to be any signs of rain anytime soon.
Yeah, that actually is outrageous if it is true. You can investigate that further over the next couple of days. We're going to leave it right there. Monique Mortlock is in the mother city, Ronald Masinda is in Butterworth, and Nqobile Madlala is in Johannesburg.